Toxic friendships are similar to toxic relationships. There's gaslighting involved, there's manipulating involved. If your best friend is toxic, they might get very obsessive over you and not want you to hang out with other people without them. I have always said, if a friend cheats on their partner, boyfriend or girlfriend, don't trust them. If a friend is able to cheat on their significant other, a person that they hang out with all the time, a person that they are intimate with, why do you think you can trust them? They obviously don't have respect for other people's emotions. They obviously are able to lie, deceive, manipulate, switching up when they are in relationship. I have had many friends that have switched the F up once they get into a relationship. Before they were in a relationship, they would put effort, want to hang out. As soon as they have a boyfriend, they are a ghost. As soon as they break up with their boyfriend, they come right back. I would call these friends seasonal friends because you don't know when they're going to come back. You don't know when they're going to leave. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Why Though. My name is Nariman and I have my bachelor and honours degree in psychology, and today we'll be talking about toxic friendships. There are several topics I'm going to be talking about in this episode. You guys can skip ahead if you would like, or you can listen to the entire episode and really understand my opinion and why I have these opinions. Some of them are based on articles, some are not. Each topic has subcategories. So we're going to talk about what a good friend looks like, how good friendships can turn toxic, identifying a toxic friend. This one has a lot of subcategories, so if you want to listen to that one. How toxic friends affect you, rules in a good friendship, and what is a good friendship, what is to be expected. Okay, let's start off with talking about what a good friend is. You guys, I made a previous episode about friendships. I spoke a lot about good friends, types of friends. So if you guys want to check out that episode, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But good friends, basically, they don't judge you. They tend to challenge you. Like if you do something that's bad, they will tell you straight up, like, that's bad. They wouldn't just support you no matter what. But they do provide emotional support. They are, just someone that you can be yourself around and you know that they accept you for you. Someone that you can rely on, and just someone that makes a positive impact on your life. That is what a good friend is. Toxic friends are the complete opposite. You can feel the negative vibe from them instantly. You're always on edge. You always feel like you need to watch out what you're going to say because you know how they're going to react, or like you don't say certain things to them, or you feel like exhausted, mentally drained by speaking to these people. I'm going to talk deeply about this because I think this is an important topic. We talk a lot about toxic relationships, but I don't think toxic friendships are a topic at the moment. Like it is a little bit, but I don't think there's enough conversation around toxic friendships, and I think they impact you the same as toxic relationships. Just because a friend is good, that doesn't mean they always are going to be good. Good friendships can easily turn toxic. You might know someone from 5th grade and then great friend for 5 years, and then 5 years later they start turning toxic. They start becoming obsessive. They start judging you. Like, people change. Why people change is, I guess, like time, like personality changes. You might be on a different path. They might be still in a party stage. You might be more mature. Not that partying makes you immature, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you might want to settle down and that person wants to party, and like those lifestyles might sometimes affect your outlook on life. And then those friendships can turn toxic because you guys are just not the same anymore and you don't see eye to eye. Like, I don't know, you guys being on a different path can just make the friendship different to how it was. This doesn't necessarily mean it's going to turn toxic, but I'm just trying to say that just because you have a good friend, that doesn't mean they're always going to be a good friend. Because I've had friends in the past where they've been there for me, but then I would make excuses for them once they turn toxic. I'm like, oh, but they've been my friend for so many years. I've been so close to them. But it's like, just because they were like that at one point, that doesn't mean they can't change. And I think, like, if someone is toxic straight away, you're more likely to end the friendship straight away. But if someone is your close friend, they're great to you, and then they slowly turn toxic, I think that's when you might start ignoring the red flags. You might make up excuses for them. give them the benefit of the doubt, and it might make you not end the friendship. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is identifying a toxic friend. There are a lot of factors and characteristics about toxic friends. The things I'm going to list, that doesn't mean it has to have all of these traits. Like, some people might have some of these traits, some people might have something else. Like, I'm just telling you the things that I've read online and the things that are from my own opinion and my own experiences, that these are the characteristics that you might find in a toxic friend. The main thing that toxic people do is they mentally drain you. Instead of building you up and having a positive impact on your life, it's just draining speaking to them. It's draining hanging out with them. It's draining speaking to them. It's draining your life in general. Like, that is the main pattern you would see in a toxic friendship. Instead of them being someone that you would turn to because you need support or because you want positivity in your life, this is a person that you kind of are not bothered to deal with. Toxic friendships are similar to toxic relationships. There's gaslighting involved, there's manipulating involved, there's obsessive behavior involved. What I mean by obsessive is that, like, let's say you have a best friend and then you start hanging out with other people. If your best friend is toxic, they might get very obsessive over you and not want you to hang out with other people without them. Or they might like start showing jealous signs, saying like, why aren't you hanging out with me anymore? I don't like how you guys are close. And then they start treating your friends badly because they are jealous of you giving them attention, you giving other people attention rather than them. They kind of just want you all to themselves. That's what I mean by obsessive. It's similar to a boyfriend that wants you all to himself. Same can happen with friends. Gaslighting can occur when, like, let's say something happened with a friend and you want to confront your friend and say, hey, this happened, I'm upset by this, you did this to hurt me, and you just want to talk about it. A normal friend would say, honestly, would have the discussion. Even if they don't think they were wrong, they will have the discussion and maybe at the end even apologize and take accountability. A toxic friend might gaslight you and act like you're crazy, tell you like you're being dramatic, you're being crazy, same as a boyfriend or a girlfriend might do to you. They'll make you look at other things rather than the core issue itself. So let's say you say, hey, you cancelled on me last minute, I really needed you there. The friend will be like, why are you being so obsessive? You're being crazy. And instead of you focusing on the problem, how they cancelled on you, you'll focus on how they're saying you're crazy and you will defend yourself with that part. The whole point of this is so you don't go back to the issue and so they avoid the issue and they don't apologize for it. And instead you're sitting there going back and forth on saying, how am I obsessive? How am I being crazy? Like blah, 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 blah. Like you're defending yourself, you're putting all your energy onto that rather than the problem itself. They kind of just make you question things and make you blame yourself rather than take accountability, I guess. Another thing is a toxic friend doesn't need to be your best friend. It could be even a casual friend. Like the obsessive behaviors, I guess, would happen from best friends the most, but I think a normal friend can be toxic. I've had friends that I wasn't even close to that much, and then they turned out to be very toxic in my life, and I just didn't want to be around them because I always felt on edge. I always felt like I needed to prove myself to them. I always felt judged. Even though I didn't know them for that long and we weren't that close, I just felt like they were not a good friend to me. Another way to identify a toxic friend is, do they respect your boundaries? Boundaries. I love boundaries. I love setting up a good boundaries. I love it. I think everyone is entitled to have a boundary, and even if it doesn't make sense to someone else, like they shouldn't be crossing the boundary just because it doesn't make sense to them. Like if I say I don't want to talk about a certain topic and someone keeps pushing that boundary, then that would piss me off, because I think everyone has a level of comfort. Everyone has a level where they feel like they should discuss things or they should be open with people. And if they just don't feel like they need to, or for example, some people don't like affection, and that's their boundary. They're saying like, don't touch me, I don't like that. I think everyone should respect that boundary because that's what makes them comfortable. And I feel like you're just pushing it if you don't. Like, why would you push someone and make them feel uncomfortable just because you don't understand their boundary? Let's say you have friends and you have boundaries. You know what to say to them, you know what jokes to make, you know what not to say. If your friend gets easily offended from comments about their appearance, respecting a boundary is not commenting on their appearance knowing that they would get upset. If you disrespect their boundary, you would purposely make comments just because you're like, I don't care, like I don't respect her boundary, I don't care if she gets cut or not, like I'm going to continue making these jokes. That's you disrespecting their boundary. Another thing is like, okay, let's say I have a friend right now, yeah, and my friend really wants to know where I'm going, who I'm with all the time. My boundary could be, you don't need to know where I am 24/7. Them overstepping a boundary could be them pushing it and asking, no, I want to know, I need to know now, like, where are you? That's overstepping a boundary because you have these walls up in place. Like, you don't need to know where I am. You don't need to know who I'm hanging out with all the time. Like, some things are kept private. You don't need to know everything. And some friends think they're entitled to that information when I think they're not, because some people just want to remain private and you shouldn't push something if they're not comfortable talking about it. I want to just quickly talk about having a bad day and being toxic. Some people might have a bad day and they might show toxic traits. And then at the end of the day, they might say, hey, listen, like I had a bad day at work today. That's why I've been acting like this. I'm sorry. That's not being a toxic friend. But if you are showing the same patterns every single day for a long period of time, then you're potentially a toxic friend. But if it's like a one-day thing, I think that's fine. You can cut people some slack. Some people just have bad days, you know. But a toxic friend will not take accountability. Sorry for cancelling on you, but you annoyed me. Like, it's a half-assed apology. Any apology that says but at the end, it's like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm also not sorry. You know what I mean? I just think if you're really sorry about something, you would say, I'm sorry for hurting you. There's no buts. I'm sorry for cancelling on you, period. I don't need to say but blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know. I think if you're genuinely sorry about something, you would just apologize and that's it. If you were running late that day and that's your excuse, you don't need to say sorry. I think you could just explain, I was running late. This was my circumstance. There you go. But with toxic friends, they kind of just avoid accountability. Like, I had a friend at one time. I hope she's not listening to this. That'll be so awkward. I don't remember what the situation was, but I remember I was confronting her about something and then she just kept saying like, I did not say that. I never said that. Blah, 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 blah. Like, just denying it. And I had our conversation. So it was like a week before or something. So I scrolled up. I found the part where she said it. I sent it to her. And instead of her saying, I'm sorry, like, you're right, I did say that, she kind of just avoided it and said like, yeah, but like, I didn't, blah, 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 like made excuses rather than taking accountability. I think because she just didn't want to admit that she was wrong and that I was right. So she just avoided the whole thing altogether, even though initially she said, I didn't do that, I didn't say that. I showed her proof that she did, and then she's still not able to say sorry. Okay, another way to identify a toxic friend is they downplay your success. Okay. Good friends support you no matter what. Even if it's the smallest thing and you're super excited about it. Let's say I'm trying to think of something that's small. Let's say you're like, oh my God, I just got 80% of my exam. I'm so happy. A good friend will be like, oh my God, yes, like I'm so happy for you. Good job. Another friend, the toxic friend might say something like, getting 80% on an exam isn't a big deal. Like, they downplay your success and you might feel kind of weird for even being excited over this. You might think, oh, like maybe I shouldn't even be excited over this. Maybe it's not even a big deal as much as I thought it was. But it's like, if something is a big deal for you, who cares? You don't really need to prove to someone that, hey, this is a big deal to me, blah, blah, blah. Like, if they're downplaying your success, honestly, it could just mean they're jealous. Like, some people are jealous, and when they're jealous of you, they see something that you have that they wish they had. So if you're getting 80% in an exam and they downplay it, they might just be insecure about their own mark, or they're insecure about school, or they're insecure about your intelligence, you know? So sometimes that's why people downplay successes, or sometimes they're just rude. And they might even mention insecurities that you have, like body insecurities. Like, I've had friends in the past, I've known people, I've heard stories in the past from people, not directly for me, but when people mention insecurities, like let's say you're insecure about your acne or a certain feature about yourself, and then a friend keeps mentioning it to you, knowing damn well that you're insecure about it and it's hurtful, and they keep mentioning it as a joke. Like, that's also another way that really affects you. Like, I've dealt with this so many times throughout high school. I used to get a lot of comments about the way I looked from certain people, and I always felt bad about it. I always felt like I needed to change something, and I always felt left out. Like, some people had a certain characteristic that I don't have, and then I started to feel shit about it and felt insecure. And it's like, if you're my friend, you shouldn't be picking out my flaws and making me feel bad about it, and if anything, you should build me up, you know. This wasn't even a friend, this was just someone from school. So I basically got a really high mark for an assessment. I think I got like in the 90s. Anyway, so word got around how I got something in the 90s, and then this girl, I wasn't that close with it, she kind of downplayed it and said, oh yeah, but like, I seen her going to the teacher and asked for help. So like, it wasn't just her that wrote the assignment, which is not true, because I wrote the whole thing. The teacher just read over it, gave me some feedback. Essentially, the work was mine. And that's just an example of someone that is downplaying what your success. Like, they don't want to admit that that's a great thing to achieve. And honestly, I don't know if she was jealous or not. Who knows? But I just felt like that's an asshole thing to do. And honestly, I think girls do this a lot to each other. I think because girls are taught to compete with each other. Like, I know it's meant to be the guys competing, but girls compete their whole life. Whether it's in beauty pageants, whether it's in friendships, relationships, in school, like, there's always this competition between girls. So I think it's just in our nature to compete and try to find stuff wrong with each other rather than building ourselves up. And like, just because someone does something well, that doesn't mean you can't do the same thing as well as them. You know, like, just because I got 80% doesn't mean that person can't get 80% as well. Toxic friends make everything about them. Have you ever had a friend where they only talk about their life? Whenever you bring up your own personal story, they're either not listening, they avoid it, or they just don't care about what you're saying. But as soon as there's a crisis in their life, they will talk about it for hours and hours and hours and hours nonstop, expecting everyone to listen to them. But as soon as the attention is pulled away from them and onto you, they instantly stop caring and stop listening. I've had friends before where the only time I'd hear from them is if they needed help or assistance, or they needed me to listen to them. But as soon as I wanted the same advice back, or I needed support back from them, they were never there. And this is a big sign of a toxic friend, because I think friendships, it goes both ways. It can't be one way. It can't always be me listening to you complain and rant, and it can't always be me doing things for you and being there for you, and then I'm not getting anything back. That's when it's like, yeah, when everything is just about them, you're kind of just trying to please them rather than pleasing yourself. And I think that's a sign that you should really watch out for. It's just, yeah, you're giving more than you receive in a way. If you're constantly making plans with someone, this actually pisses me off. This is something, oh my God, like, this is a topic that really frustrates me. I don't know why. I think because I've had a lot of experience with it. When you are the one that always makes plans with other people and they never make plans as well, that really annoys me. Because I think in a friendship, and if that person's a really good friend, they will make the time to initiate outings, they will initiate conversation, they will check up on you, they will say, hey, let's do this. But if you're the one that's always messaging, always suggesting plans, always there for them, then they're a shit friend. And I've had this experience on multiple occasions where I'm the one that's constantly trying to make plans, and then the friend doesn't do the same back, or has excuses, or just doesn't show interest. I don't know, like, and then I also think, well, why are they choosing to be my friend then? Because these people still choose to be my friend, but only when it suits them. Only when it's convenient for them. Only when they need me. But when I need someone, or I want to go out somewhere, or just in general, I want them to put a little bit of effort, not even a lot of effort, just a little bit of effort, I don't receive that. And I think that's a huge red flag for a toxic friend, because they're just not adding anything useful to you, to your life. This is what I mean by some toxic friends are obsessive and want you all to themselves, and other toxic friends just only want you when it's convenient for them. Do these toxic people gossip? Gossiping. Everyone does it. Don't lie. Don't say you don't do it. Everyone gossips. Unintentionally, intentionally. Gossip is great. Like, I love to gossip. I love to hear the tea about someone's work friend or someone in school's relationship. Like, I like to know. It doesn't mean I'm going to talk shit about them. I just want to gossip and know the drama, like what's going on. You know, everyone does it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Unless there's only something wrong with it if you're making rumors, you're spreading rumors. But if it's like between you and your best friend, or you and your boyfriend, and it's not leaving that circle, I don't think there's anything wrong with gossiping, because you obviously need to trust the person you're telling. And if the person that you're telling is trustworthy and it's not leaving the circle, then honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Anyway, back to the toxic friends. If this toxic friend gossips about someone to you, but then goes and talks to that person, is acting normal to them, that's a red flag for me. I have always looked out for this sign. I always had girls in school, they will talk so much shit for hours and hours and hours on one of their friends, and then the next day they're fine. They're completely fine. They don't say anything. I don't trust that person. The same way they're talking about that person for hours and hours and hours, they're going to do the same thing to me. If I tell them something private, if me and them have a fight, they're going to go tell someone else. I don't trust these people at all. And I don't trust someone that gossips about you but doesn't say it to their face. If someone has an issue with me, I would rather them tell me directly rather than me hear it from someone else. And then when I confront them about it, they say, oh, I never said that. It's like, don't say something that you wouldn't say to someone's face. And when I was talking about gossip before, when I said it's okay to gossip, everything that I discuss about someone, I don't care to tell them to their face. I have respect for people that I used to speak to. There are a lot of people that I used to speak to that have told me things in confidence, that when they were vulnerable, and I still never say anything about them. Even if me and that person are on bad terms, I will never spread their secrets. I will never tell anyone something that they went through, because they told me that, and they told me that when they trusted me, and I will always keep a secret safe. If someone told me don't say anything, and they were telling me something very private about their family, about themselves, why would I tell someone? Even if I'm not friends with them, I think there's a limit. Like, I can gossip about our fight, but I won't gossip about what happened to them in childhood. You know, like, what's the point of saying that? Like, it's like, why? They trusted you. You should keep that secret. I think when someone's fake, that says a lot about them. It shows that they know how to act, that they know how to deceive people, they know how to manipulate people. And how do you know they're not manipulating you too? Toxic friends also act completely different around people. Basically a pick-me. You know how people, they'll act so normal around you, but as soon as a guy comes along or a different person comes along, their voice changes, what they say changes, their attitude changes. It's like, what happened to you? I remember I had this girl in my school, whenever she used to speak to boys on the phone, or see guys, her voice would instantly go like high pitched and like like all cute and feminine and whatever. And then when she's with the girls, she's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. It's like they change the way they look around other people. And sometimes they try to make you look bad in front of people as well. When you're in a group setting and your friend is purposely trying to make you look bad, making fun of you, making up stuff just to get the attention of other people and make themselves look better, that person's not a good friend. That's like pick me vibes. That's like get away from me vibes. And I think this goes back to the competition I was saying. Like, there's always competition around girls. And I think a lot of girls, when there's a boy around, there's a competition. They want to compete for him. They want to make sure he likes them. I had this girl, she wasn't really my friend, she was more of a mutual friend. As soon as there was people around us, she would instantly like change her attitude and change the way she spoke and try to make us seem annoying. And she's like the cool, calm, like chill girl, even though she was saying something else like 2 minutes before they came. Like, people like that, I think, are insecure and they are looking for other people's validation. and they don't mind making fun of you for their own benefit. They don't mind making you look stupid for them to look good. And it's like, why would you trust that person? They're obviously insecure. They obviously care about what other people think. And they obviously don't give a crap about you, because they're making themselves look better at the cost of making you look bad. Before I move on, I just remembered something. I also think someone that isn't trustworthy, I don't know, we keep talking about trust now, but it's like this podcast took a little bit of a different turn. But trust. I have always said, if a friend cheats on their partner, boyfriend or girlfriend, don't trust them. If a friend is able to cheat on their significant other, a person that they hang out with all the time, a person that they are intimate with, why do you think you can trust them? They obviously don't have respect for other people's emotions. They obviously are able to lie, deceive, manipulate. If they obviously don't care about someone's emotions and that they can betray someone close to them, why do you think you're any better? Even if you're not their best friend, if they can cheat on their partner, why would they not cheat on you in life? Not cheat, but like, why would they not betray you? Switching up when they are in relationships. Oh, another topic that I could relate to. Not for me, I never switch up during relationships. I have had many friends that have switched the F up once they get into a relationship. Before they were in a relationship, they would put effort, want to hang out, blah, 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 blah. As soon as they have a boyfriend, they are a ghost. They do not care about their friends. They cancel. They don't make effort. Everything is about their boyfriend. Their boyfriend is their life. Their boyfriend's everywhere, everything for them. Like, they always think about their boyfriend before anything else. Look, I understand, like, I am an advocate for that. Like, put your partner should be a priority, 100%. Like, I always think partner is your priority. But that doesn't mean you treat your friends like shit and you are not there for them and you ignore them. It's like, what if you guys break up? These friends that do this, as soon as they break up with their boyfriend, they come right back. It's like, you freaking user, like, you have not been found for the past year, and as soon as you break up, you're like running back for emotional support. It's like, what about my emotional support that I needed from you? How come I get to give it to you with you putting limited effort, but I get nothing back? I would call these friends seasonal friends, because you don't know when they're going to come back. You don't know when they're going to leave. They're sometimes there for you. They're sometimes not. They're not someone that you could really rely on. I'll give you an example. Like, these types of friends, they will cancel on you completely last minute to hang out with their boyfriend. Let's say you had plans for 2 months to go to this restaurant. On the day, they're like, hey, I'm not going anymore because I want to hang out with my boyfriend. I think that's very inconsiderate, because you made someone wait. You planned a day for them when you could see your boyfriend any time of the day. Make a different time for your boyfriend and stick to the plan that you had with your friend, because sometimes you might need these friends in the future. You never know. You never know, because you might break up with you might think this person's my everything, but once you break up with them, who are you going to go to? You're going to run back to the friends that you dogged and ghosted? Like, what's the point? It makes you feel used. It makes you feel like you were only there because they were bored. It's like you were only there, they only spoke to you until they got a boyfriend. Like, you were in the waiting room with them. Like, they're in the waiting room talking to you, ha 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 ha, but as soon as their appointment is up, they leave you and they go to their boyfriend, and that's the last you hear of them. That's how I felt a lot of the times. Like, I felt used, and I felt like I wasn't important, and I felt like our friendship was a sham and it didn't mean anything to them, because friendships mean a lot to me. And I get very hurt if a friendship doesn't mean anything to the person that ghosted or disappeared. I don't know, but I think you should be cautious of these types of people. Okay, finally, rules in a good friendship. What is a good friendship and what is to be expected? I have a question about, I think I found this from an article. Do you feel natural or like you're pretending? If you feel like you're pretending, then you need to reevaluate this friendship that you have, because they might be judgmental and not accept you for you. You need to see why you're pretending. Do you feel connected or disconnected? Yeah, a good friend, you would want to feel connected. You wouldn't want to feel disconnected. It's like self-explanatory. And do you feel excited or frustrated? Do you feel excited to hang out with this friend, or frustrated, or do you feel on edge to hang out with this friend? If you feel excited, that's great news. But if you feel frustrated and drained and not bothered to hang out with this friend, then that's also a red flag, because it's like, why do you feel bad? Friendships are meant to be a positive thing. You're meant to hang out with them and feel good about yourself. But if you're feeling negative, then something's up. So to me, a good friend is someone that is there for you, someone you can be yourself around. The effort is mutual, and there has to be some sort of connection. Like, if they're constantly making it about themselves, then what's the point of having this friend? You're not a free therapist. Like, if they want to see a therapist, they can pay for one, they can pay for someone's services, but you're not a free therapist. Friendships are both ways. There's no point of having a friend that's toxic. But anyway, just to wrap it up, be aware of your friendships. If someone's toxic, try to cut them off, because there is no point. They're not adding anything to your life. They're just making you miserable, and there's no point of being their friend. I have a very small circle because I cut a lot of people off in my life that I was close to. Does it get lonely? Like, sometimes, yeah, but I would rather have no friends than have shit friends. I think it's draining, I think it's pointless, and I think it's a waste of time. I have had friends like lie about certain things, and then I catch them out on it, and it's like, why am I chasing this person? There's no point. Like, it's a waste of effort, it's a waste of time getting ready, going out, like staying in contact with them when they're not even there for me. Like, there's no point. You know, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered for these people. I don't think you should be bothered either, because they're not adding anything to your life. Like, you deserve good people. You deserve a good emotional support system. You deserve good friends, not toxic ones that gaslight you, are obsessive, cancel on you, always make it about themselves, etc. Everything that I mentioned, you don't deserve that. And yeah, that is all that I have for this episode. If you guys enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe to my channel, or follow me on Spotify. I make TikToks every single day on TikTok and Instagram. Follow me on all my socials. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next episode. Bye.